Hello and welcome back to the TVBinges.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I'm joined as always by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's an aspiring music journalist who has fallen right into my trap. It's Olivia Richards, hello!
Dun dun dun!
Oh, drama, murder. And those are the themes today because we are talking about ABC's new serial killer-centered drama, Wicked City. Olivia, what did you think?
It should be noted that we just finished talking about Supergirl, and that was like a great, wonderful feminist TV feat. And this is the exact opposite of that, because this is what I like to call misogyny for women. So
misogyny for women, that's great.
This was
that should have been the name. Yeah, this was like you're absolutely right. This was like a bad romance novel. That's aimed at women, but traffics in misogyny. You're absolutely right. That's what this is.
Oh my! Getting through this was hard. It was really hard. I'm like, I need like a bottle of something, not like a glass. Like I need like a bottle of something strong in my hand right now to like make this even a thing, because it was rough to get through.
Yeah. So this show takes place in 1982. I knew nothing about this going out. I didn't know what the premise was. So I was surprised to find that our the guy who I thought was our hero, in the first scene, I gotta say this gently, murders a woman while she's pleasuring him in the first scene. And that is not the only scene of such business that happens in this pilot.
It should be noted that Wikipedia referred to the show as an erotic thriller, and I have a lot of concerns about that tag, a lot of questions, and unfortunately all of them were answered, and not in a good way.
Oh, that's a lofty term for this. This is neither erotic nor a thriller. This is this is a
mess.
This is a pile of garbage. This is just a terrible show. You talked about the I'll say gently, the issues the show has with women. Do you want to outline some of them?
All right. Okay, so basically, here's my thing. It starts, I got a very Twilight vibe from this couple, because basically you have two attractive people who find each other because they're both psychos. But you have him being charming, and he lures her in because he's attractive and smooth talks her into a life of crime with him. And it's set up in a way that as long as a guy is sexy and can promise you things, that maybe that's actually romance. And people are going to be watching this and thinking, wow, that's so like sexy. That's like this is what, girls want, is like that element of danger, aka, having a guy who could potentially murder you at any moment, because that's always, something that you should aspire to. And then, having nameless women being decapitated.
Sure.
And I feel like I had the same thing like what happened with Stalker, where it's a show all about crimes against women, but they make it so that it's entertainment. Like, that's my biggest thing, is that there's zero empathy or compassion for these crimes that are being committed against, these nameless women. It's, hey, what is he going to do next? Like, what's he going to do to one-up this thing?
Yes. And we should note, as terrible as Stalker was, this show is actually about the serial killer. And it doesn't do enough in this pilot to make him unlikable. Like you said, all the women he kills are nameless, like, basically, or they have a name because he dedicates a song on the radio to them, which is just like,
that cringe.
Yeah, but it's like they're not humans. They're just sort of props for him to stab with knives. And that whole bedroom scene with the woman that he dupes into being his accomplice was gross. He's also a necrophiliac, which is like, I don't know, they don't do enough to make him monstrous in this pilot. Like, they don't portray him as monstrous enough. I understand that he does monstrous things, but the show itself needs to comment on it, I feel like. Like, if you're going to center half the show around someone who is a serial killing necrophiliac, I feel like the show needs to take a stronger stance against him.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, it makes it seem like because they try to give him like sympathetic moments where he's like coloring with that little girl, like
Right?
you should be a daddy, and I was like, don't do that. That's
No.
bad. Like, don't give him like a cute backstory. Like, I feel like at any moment he was just gonna disappear and like I have to return some videotapes, and then he does, and then like
Right.
he's like, the typical American psycho, but like the thing is they market him like he's like the new Edward Cullen, where the girls are gonna be like, oh, like that's awesome. I want that. Like,
Oh
he's
yeah.
dangerous. Like there's that element of like again the erotic thriller, but I'm like, this isn't glamorous, like this isn't good. Like this is, a man who's really committing horrible crimes. Like fiction, like I know it's fictional, but it happens enough and it becomes part of, a society or a societal bigger issue.
Yeah, well, I mean, shows like this just contribute to normalizing that kind of thing and to make it like to make it like violence against women is not something that's out of the not like a serious issue that needs to be addressed, but just something that happens. A show like this, rather than sort of bringing it to light, romanticizes the killer and makes him. I mean, honestly, like given that the detective is a sort of older guy who is also because every character in the show is sexualized, but the serial killer guy is clearly the romantic lead of the show. Like he is clearly the object of desire, or he's being passed off as such. Um, and yeah, it's just the show is making a very it's just a very overt effort to downplay the severity of his crimes and like you said, highlight the aspects of him that are human, and also his like sexual magnetism. Like it's clearly, I agree with your assessment. It's clearly a show for women, but it's about a guy who does terrible things to women, and yet women are being asked to like lust after him, which is a very like tenuous position. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just watching it and I had such a like really like bad taste in my mouth, and I just every scene I wanted to either like take a walk after and then come back to it, or just like it was just at times that it wasn't infuriating, it was just sort of boring because like it's not a good show just like writing wise, or there are better
right.
procedurals to watch, but then at its worst of it being just a really deeply misogynistic show that doesn't seem to kind of grasp the severity of the crimes it's using as entertainment. That's the part where it was just very like very angering.
Right. Well, yeah, we absolutely need to point out that even if you put all of this aside, even if you don't care about the portrayal of violence against women, this is still a very bad show.
Yeah.
This is I mean, you don't have to think about this as any more than just this is a poorly written show. I think the serial killer, who is played by Ed Westwick, is neither creepy nor interesting enough to justify the focus that's on him in this show. I think that if he was doing something a little more interesting, not in terms of killing, but just like his performance, if he had a more like specific take on who this guy is, there might be some like redeeming elements of this show just from a TV making perspective. But he's really just playing it down the middle, boring. I mean, like there's really nothing there. Like I just don't. There's nothing compelling about any of these characters. And then the other half of the show, when we're not following a serial killer, is we're following this detective who is played by Jeremy Sisto in his like sexual adventures, showering with women and flirting with women and all of that, as he tries to catch the serial killer. And that part of the show is really cliche and really just like every procedural you've ever seen condensed down to about 15 minutes of screen time, where he walks onto the crime scene and he instantly knows everything that happened, and he's got the partner who's a little bit sketchy and seems career driven, and he's loyal to his wife but he's tempted by women. Like he is every cliche possible for a police procedural. So the show manages to combine all these sort of boring cliches of a police procedural with the icky, misogynistic blend of like Stalker. It's like it's really just bad.
It's cringy. It's not something that anybody should want to sit down and watch at any time ever.
Yes, and thankfully no one did, because this show did a 0.9 in the demo on a Tuesday night. And 3.3 million total viewers. And this is not a CW show, this is an ABC show. And by comparison, as TV by the Numbers points out, this premiere of a drama, barely beat last week's Shark Tank rerun that aired in the same time slot.
Oh my god.
So, not good. Apparently, maybe people aren't going to tune in for your horrible show about women being murdered and dumb cops. It's maybe the viewing public is smartening up. So Olivia, is this show going to be canceled quickly, make it through the season, or renewed for next season?
Cancel quickly.
Yep.
Just hands down.
Moving on. Final verdict. Thumbs up or thumbs down on Wicked City?
Huge thumbs down.
Double thumbs down from me as well. This is a disaster. It should have never made it to air. Someone needed to say at some point, guys, what are we doing? Like,
we can do better.
We can just do better. Like this, let's just take the idea of a serial killer and a cop, and let's rewrite everything else. Like let's figure out some more interesting way to tell this story, because it really went badly, and hopefully it's only on the air for a few more weeks. So you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Or find us at SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichiesOlivia, and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Till next time.